Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Southern Hang Podcast. I'm Neil Wilding, and I'm going to serve as your moderator this week. Southern Hang is four guys from the South talking sports, music, fatherhood, anything else that might pop into our heads at any moment. This week, in this week's episode, we'll, like normal, we'll go around the horn, hear any stories from the fellas that might have happened over the weekend. Just so happens, I'm recording live from Kansas City. I'm on the Kansas side of things over in Overland Park. So anytime you hear Kansas City, you think barbecue. So we thought it might be good for us to, spend some time talking about barbecue, anything barbecue tangential, whether it be restaurants, sauces, meats. We'll spend some time talking about that. And then, last week's episode, we talked about bourbon and beyond. And the episode, we all took a few artists, talked a few songs, some of us more songs than others. And so we thought we would revisit Bourbon and Beyond a little bit now that our playlists are live and out there. Maybe talk through, any feedback we got, airing of grievances, whatever it may be. And then we're each going to identify a band that we didn't know from the lineup that we found and discovered. And so we're each going to kind of talk through some of that. So fellas, how's that sound for an episode?
Just one. Sounds good. Buddy, I'm giving you 35 cents on tangential. I don't even have that word in my repertoire. So that was big word knowledge there.
That's that Oldham County education.
The dumb construction guy was like, dude, that was great. I'm going to reuse that in a sentence. I'll use it wrong, but I'm using it somewhere to somebody with lesser intelligence than me, hopefully, and they'll think I look smart.
With confidence, right? Say with confidence, buy into it.
I think we said we were going to learn some things about each other, and Cotton, you're going to learn some new words too.
Yeah, I can't spell it, but I got tangential written down. I'm probably putting a hyphen somewhere wrong in that word, and it's going to be somebody's going to look at me like I'm cussing at them.
So you not only have the word, but it's also been used in a sentence.
Kansas City, huh? So last week we had a person in DC. Mm-hmm. This week we have a person in KC. I feel like somebody's going to have to travel next week to somewhere with a city with a C in it next week, I was going to TC, but I had to switch up. Now I'm going to New York, so it doesn't flow.
But it's initial.
I can't think of two more opposite cities than Tech City and New York City.
Yeah, to go back to Red's comment last week of Mardi Gras and Galveston, does Rochester, New York, have you heard that their Mardi Gras is equally as famous as Galveston Island?
I've got nothing there. I know St. Louis has a pretty strong Mardi Gras parade, but I got nothing in Rochester.
Apparently, I'm going to find out what Rochester's got going on for Mardi Gras, so I might be the only one celebrating.
I wouldn't have high hopes.
Rochester,
New York, in February. That sounds.
Yeah,
like
I looked at the weather reports, like 15. I'm not happy about it, but duty calls. I got to run up there for work real quick.
So Sherman, how'd anything cool happen to you over the week?
I would say uncool is what happened. I got stuck at Dulles on Saturday for 12 hours. I got there at 10 o'clock for a 12:45 flight. Got on the plane, excuse me. They had a maintenance issue. We got pulled off the plane. We got back on the same plane about 45 minutes later. That lasted about 15 minutes. They said there's another maintenance issue. Get off the plane. When we got off, the pilot followed us off and told the people at the desk, "I'm not flying," and he pointed back that plane.
Wow.
So the little group that I was with literally just walked right over to the we're like, we need to get a new flight, just wherever we're going. Don't care how long it takes. Don't care if don't care if I'm going to Tech City, Rochester. I don't care where you send me. Just get me home. But
I'm not getting on that plane.
Not on that plane. So,
wow.
But did you
10:05?
Did you ride on the Star Wars machines?
We didn't. No, we did not. I paced. I got 15,000 steps in at the Dulles Airport.
Wow.
Ate 3 meals at the Dulles Airport.
Like $2,000.
Yeah.
And that airport doesn't have like the American Airlines lounge or.
They actually have a Chase lounge, which we found out, not a
All right.
Chase, CHAISE, but Chase, like the bank. They had which we did find. I found in one other guy that was with me there. So ended up spending about 7 hours in that spot and ate 2 meals there. So all good. It took me a little while, but it was all good. Worked out. Got home safe. All that's fine.
First world problems. I always try to tell myself it's first world problems.
Right.
There's a lot of people that don't get to do cool stuff like traveling. So when we whine about I had to travel somewhere and I got stuck, I always like, hey man, that's first world problems. Like,
that's right. Yeah, knocked out a bunch of work. It was fun. Yeah. Worked out.
Well, good.
Red, what about you? What was up to you this week?
Weekend was great. You know, we Craig and I were part of a world domination team for trivia.
Didn't we?
Over at St. Rayfield. And that Saturday was great. Outside of that, it's been a little bit lackluster. I've been horizontal fighting a virus and had a client in town here this week, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday morning, pretty much horizontal, but on the mend. So looking forward to this next weekend.
Yeah, me and Red have shirts that say we're number 5. We came in the 5th best trivia people at the St. Rayfield and only 4 points behind number 1.
I thought you were going to say only 4 people contending.
No, well, right.
No. Table 5 out of 7 tables.
Yeah, it was a full house. It was a full house. I don't know how many tables.
Well, what was the question that got you that put you in 5th?
Ooh.
There was a couple that that we had out there, but here, look, you're giving me a good segue. So this is a question that came up that I thought was very interesting that I had no idea. So I'm going to give you the question, but due to dead air, I'm not going to give you a whole lot of time to answer the question. So I'm going to say and Red, you don't get to answer because you know the answer, but like a 3-second pause. And if you don't get it, then I'm going to throw out the answer here. Okay. But in the 70s, what added a black pentagon so viewers could follow along easier?
No clue.
Dead air.
Soccer ball. That I thought I had no idea. I was like, really? That blew me away. I'm like, well, that makes so much sense, but I didn't know that soccer balls were just white back in the day, and they added the black pentagon in there to make it black and white. I just thought that's always the look of a soccer ball. So it blew me. Being a soccer family, or not me maybe as much as both my boys, but both of my boys are big soccer guys. I was like, really? Like it that one blew me away. So that's what I stuck.
See, I was going to say, but people watch soccer. But see, I don't want to offend you like that.
I love soccer. I watch soccer.
I'm probably in the minority there.
Yeah. Well, we have colored TVs also now, so they can do whatever color they want. But this is back in the day when TVs were black and white. Why did they add it? That is the reason. So there's your trivia.
I'll get a trivia question related to where I am. So I flew in Kansas City. I flew into MCI Airport. Any clue why it's MCI? I'll spare you the drama. It's because it's literally in the middle of the continent. So it's the mid-continental.
Is it international?
Mid-continental international. I was hoping for some kind of cool rap lingo.
Yeah, no, sorry.
Some kind of hip hop.
That's probably why they didn't ask that question at your trivia contest, because maybe it's not as exciting as I thought. Cotton, anything else going on this week?
Me?
Yeah, man.
No, been home, been playing. So I don't know. Average viewer that paid for the regular subscription to our podcast is only audio, so that you're not going to get to see the new setting. But those that paid the big subscription are seeing the video, and I am live from my new setting. So I've been playing around in the basement all weekend or all week. In the evenings, setting up the new podcast area. So I'm going to call it the live from the Cotton Blue Couch Studios. Yeah. So this is the new setup, and I'm pumped about it, man. This is a cool vibe down here. So that's been the main thing. Outside of work, the evenings have been playing around in the basement, setting up the new podcast area.
It does look fresh. And for those of you that are just getting to know Craig Cotton, that's his excited voice.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. Oh, we can go hype, but yeah, no, right now I'm trying to stay mellow. This is a team thing that we're doing with the four of us, and so I'm trying to come out with the new mellow Craig. We haven't got to the hyped up Craig yet
So,
on the episodes.
We
so
haven't
yeah.
talked about yards. Once we
Oh,
talk about
buddy,
yards, I'm
Oh
not
yeah,
starting
do
that's
this
you,
year.
do
true.
you
I
see
do.
do you see this picture
I
in the
do see
background here? Do you
Sturgill.
see that?
I do.
That is the Sturgill Simpson homage that my son made for me because I'm so ate up with mowing my yard and putting down the lines. He took the Sturgill Simpson Cutting Grass album, took that cover, put me on the cover on my lawnmower, and it's the Wooded Ridge Sessions, me cutting grass on the cover album. So that's a Sturgill Simpson homage.
I like it.
I have to ask, do you even like Sturgill Simpson's music, or is it the fact that he's got an album called Cutting Grass?
Buddy, so I still have it, but it's now become a styrofoam. I made all these styrofoam sound absorbers in my basement because I don't have any columns. So, but I have a T-shirt, and I wrapped one of these styrofoam with my cutting grass T-shirt, and I would cut grass, and I would put the earbuds in and listen to the album of cutting grass while I was wearing my cutting grass T-shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, buddy, you want to talk about how good I felt when I was doing that.
Now you are on a podcast with the cutting grass picture in the background while you're talking about cutting grass, listening to music. Like we're getting there, man.
I've basically maxed out. Like I'm good. I'm good.
Well, Craig, I can tell the excitement, and it is a good segue. I got a little story for you guys. So last week, I think we were talking about, or maybe it was the intro episode, about how Lance and I are coaching a group of first graders. And I got to tell you, so it was a big weekend for the first grade SOBC team. It's been a rough go for us a little bit. We were 0-6, and I would say that we got the players, but maybe we're just lacking in the coaching department. But last weekend was our weekend, and we were playing. A team is actually pretty good, and actually, I joke our team actually is a pretty good little team, and we just keep losing by a couple of points. So it probably is coaching, but we're doing pretty well in this game. And one of the things I've been trying to teach these kids is like, they're first graders, so they're just learning the game. But I'm trying to teach them like, when their teammates got the ball, usually it's like the other four kids standing right next to them, yelling them, pass me the ball, right?
Sure.
And so I'm trying to instill, like, give them something else to do. And
Spacing.
Right. So either maybe space and let's go, find a corner to run into, or if we see the opportunity, maybe we help out a teammate and go set a good screen. Because we've definitely practiced screen, how to set a screen. So we got this play, this team. We're already up like 10 points, and it's a good day for us. Yeah, man, we're rolling, and this play starts to unfold. And one of my kids, he's a pretty good little player, and he goes right, and he kind of runs up into a wall of defenders, and so then he kind of, I really think he went like behind his back, which for a first grader is a pretty good move. So he goes behind his back, starts moving with his opposite hand, dribbling left. And I see like a little twinkle in this kid's eye that's underneath the basket. And he's like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go set a screen for my teammate. And so he goes, and I just see it all unfold. And so he's like under the basket. Meanwhile, the play is happening outside 3-point line. So there's a lot that's got to happen here. Trust me, the payoff in this is awesome. So so he comes up and like meets the kid at the free throw line. Meanwhile, my kid dribbling left hand full speed, and this kid sets the best screen I've ever seen in my life. And it frees up the kid at the free throw line to go make an easy layup, and we get a bucket. The crowd goes wild. And meanwhile, I'm like, parents are all excited for the kid making the basket, but me, I'm like, man, this kid just set one of the best screens I've ever seen. I want to give this kid credit. So I'm just like all pumped up, and I'm double fist, and I'm already kind of yelling, kind of talking to the kids kind of loud, but in about the loudest voice I have, I yell. I'm like, great screen, great job. Meanwhile, there's kind of a hush to the crowd while I screaming, great screen. And what I didn't recognize is that the kid that he set the screen on was laying flat on the ground
Oh,
in tears. And so I am the a-hole coach
right.
screaming at the kid that got hurt. And I and so I went to say something to the other coach. I said, man, I didn't see your kid was hurt. He goes, man, they're first graders. What are you coaching around here? So anyway, if you hear
Yeah,
stories
he didn't
about
throw a shiver. He didn't throw a shiver. He set a screen, right?
it was a clean, and actually I talked
Yeah.
to the guy that was umpire or reffing, and I said, man, that was a clean screen, right? He goes, yeah, man, that was great. But if you hear stories about the coach that was, cheering on a kid that got hurt in the St. Matthews Basketball League, that would be yours truly.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
I did hear some rumblings through the grapevine. They said some deranged coach yelling like Dennis Hopper in the movie Hoosiers on the sideline after his player did a crackback block. I didn't know what the defense. I didn't know that I knew the block.
Oh, so anyway, that
Well,
was
that's all. Well,
I had to
congrats,
share that
congrats,
for you.
congrats on the dub. Congrats on the dub.
It was a big win, and now we're
Did
heading into the tournament with some confidence, and we're ready to shock the world, or at
they
least slow them down.
go? They get taken out for pizza or
Well, we just
snacks?
might
What
have
do you, is it still at that grade? I mean, that's first grade. So I know we were more soccer players, but like the big deal was we didn't really care if we won or lose. It was who brought the best snacks when the game was over, and it was Capri Suns and granola bars.
This is Oldham County, though, buddy. The moment's over. The moment's over.
Moving
On
on
to
to the
Well,
next ball game.
I'm the
On to
a-hole
next.
coach, so I had them running laps. I had them
Oh
doing,
yeah,
getting ready for
we're
the
staying. We're staying
Yeah.
after. We're staying.
The other
my bad.
three
My bad.
didn't set a pick. You're
That's
running,
right.
buddy.
That's right.
No Capri Suns for you.
All right, I'm tasked with keeping us on task here, guys. So I
All right.
teased up front that I'm in Kansas City, and you just can't think Kansas City without barbecue. And
Hey,
like that's a topic that can get quite controversial. Now, Cotton, I know you got roots in Texas, so I probably
yeah.
know where you're leaning. But
Oh, yeah.
just general thoughts. Where are we going with this?
As far as pro or anti Kansas City barbecue, or whose barbecue is the best?
Well, I let's go with the latter there. Like what?
Well,
when
Texas
you think
barbecues. Texas barbecue is the best. I mean, that's where barbecue is made. The rest of the people are trying to see if they can even catch up. But Kansas City's good. I ain't mad at Kansas City. Nobody's mad at good barbecue. We're good. Hey, high fives, Kansas City. But Texas is the best, And in North Carolina, all right. St. Louis, I don't know who else, can Owensboro, Kentucky, our proclaimed best city in Kentucky, but Texas is the best. So that's my.
So should we get an unbiased opinion here? Like Sherman, you have thoughts?
I got thoughts, but I will start the conversation off with I agree with. I like all barbecue. So I mean, it is more of there is no hating on or somebody is bad. And to your point on West Kentucky barbecue, mutton to me is one of my favorite. It's just it's a different thing altogether. It's a little, lean, little gamey. I like that. But I'm also, if I'm picking a sauce, I have over the last, 40 something years now of eating barbecue, I find myself grabbing more of the Carolina barbecue, the mustard barbecue, more than I grab anything else. Even though I like, normally I'm a spicy guy and I like spicy foods, but I would think spicy barbecue, but that's not where I go with my meat, even though I'll probably go brisket and go Texas brisket. So I'm mixing it all up.
I think you're right on. You hit it right on the head there. But there's two subjects: barbecue and barbecue sauce. Because I'm a believer that if your barbecue is right, the sauce should just be in a side addition that you dip in there to switch up the flavors, not something to put on your barbecue to make your barbecue taste better. It should stand on its own.
This is the excited Craig Cotton voice. This is what I was waiting on.
Yeah.
This is
we're on episode 3. We're geared up. We got to get it right. We have to start slow and gear into this stuff. So
I also leave it to our political guy to try and appease all audiences with his answer. Well done.
Oh, let me just make somebody mad then. If I got, I'm with it.
Red, Shirley, you got thoughts?
I lean towards Texas. Echoing everybody else's comments, I don't know that there's bad barbecue. Haven't been disappointed with anything yet. But I lean towards Texas. And specifically, when traveling down there for work, there's a place called Heart 8, which is just right there by the DFW airport. You know,
All
big
right.
huge open grill. You walk up and you order it. They serve it to you by the pound, and it's our favorite game to play is always watch the new guy, right? Because your eyes are bigger than your mouth. And they said, well,
Mm-hmm.
give me, some of this and give me that sausage and give me some brisket. And next thing you know, they go to check out and they got $70 worth of meat and like 10 pounds. They don't even realize what they've done.
And it's cattle style. The place you're talking about is cattle style, where you go through the line and then you tell them, "Hey, I want a pound of this and a slice of that, and give me a gallon of beans." That's like I love that bird. That's what I like about Texas barbecue. I like going through the big line and getting the big checkout with all the different items. Give me this, give me some of that.
If I'm right, our last baseball trip, did we not hit up some barbecue on the way?
Oh, we did.
It did.
Good call.
Indianapolis, not even on the radar, not even on the list here.
Who knew?
Yeah, good call.
Place, though.
Forgot about that.
How about that? I'm a brisket.
What was the name of the place outside of DFW?
Hard Eight.
Hard Eight. We just went somewhere. I'm gonna have to look it up. I just went down there like a month ago and we ate outside of DFW, but that ain't the name of the place we went to, but it's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, you stay in the line, right? You wait your turn, and all that smoke just gets in your clothes, and it's there for like the rest of the day. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I asked the folks here from Kansas City. I said, "Okay, I'm here. Where do I go?" They mentioned a place called Q39, and that because they have a place here in Overland Park. And so I go to Q39's website. I said, "Let me check it out, see where it is." And did you know that there's like a proper way, like they've got a PDF on their website on the proper way to reheat your barbecue, take like your leftovers when you bring them home.
What are those?
It's like you got to make sure you got to get it to a certain temperature. There's like rules to follow just on reheating your barbecue. I don't think they do that in Texas.
Well, apparently they need to if they're ordering 10 pounds of stuff like Redmond's talking about. Well, I think between us we could probably get it, Redmond, but yeah, that's a lot of barbecue.
So did you put your vote on the table there, Wilding? Did you say?
He did not.
I don't recall you saying. So it sounds like you're leaning towards Kansas City.
And
if you could be here in Kansas City, if you could give us your answer while singing in a bluesy kind of tone, that would be great.
No, man. I spent enough time in Texas, living in Texas. I'm not going to go violate the Lone Star State. A good Texas brisket, man, all day.
Oh, buddy.
Yeah. Nothing like it. Now, also, we're talking sauces, right? And so I think about the stuff that I go buy off the shelf, right? So this is probably not your top tier stuff, but if I'm going to just buy something at, Kroger, one local grocery store, I'm always grabbing my Stubbs barbecue. And I love me some Stubbs. They got all the flavors, but I love me some Stubbs just because I know that at Stubbs, they're also a concert venue.
Yeah.
And I've seen some concerts there, and I figured, you can't go wrong with some good barbecue and barbecue sauce. It's now available in the grocery stores at a place where you can see some good tunes.
Yeah. Well, we went there last year in Austin. I was down there for a conference, and we moseyed over to Stubbs and got to see a show that night. It was great. That's a great venue.
Yeah, it is.
I like Stubbs. I also think I like Sweet Baby Ray's, and I think I like it more for the name maybe than the flavor.
It's good stuff. That's our steady go-to.
That is like we got it sitting there. But Montgomery Inn up in Cincinnati, like that's a pretty big place up there, and they sell their sauce in the stores now too.
That's right.
Yeah.
Stubbs is ours. That's the one we have in the refrigerator all the time.
Yeah.
Well, being that y'all give me a segue, can I give you like a 2-minute story? So
let's go.
All right. So this is a barbecue story. So I'm in Syracuse, New York. Wouldn't think. I don't think barbecue when I think Syracuse, New York. But there is a place called Dinosaur Barbecue in Syracuse, New York. Fantastic. And I'm blown away. Like I go in there with a buddy of mine, and I'm like, what in the hell? Like, no, like you people don't have a clue what you're doing. And it was great. The atmosphere is super eclectic. It's awesome. I call my dad, we're purist from Texas, and I'm telling him, man, this is great stuff. And he says, do they sell their barbecue? And I said, yeah, or barbecue sauce. Yep, they sell it. He said, get me 2 bottles. I have a group of buddies that I exchange barbecue sauces with when we travel. We come home, we get barbecue sauce to our buddies of where we tried it. I said, okay. So I buy 2 bottles, one for myself, one for my dad. And now I'm flying back out of Syracuse a day or so later and going through security. And sir, you cannot take that amount of liquid through security. I'm like, hell. But you can check it. All right. So I back out, open up my luggage, wrap all my barbecue sauce up in all my clothes, and check my stuff, get back home to Louisville, and you know where I'm going here. I land and I go and I open up my luggage, and I am now throwing away every piece of clothing that I had in this piece of that I traveled with that week, because both bottles had broke, and so now I'm either going to rock some underwear with the smell of barbecue for the rest of till I throw
can
those
think
away.
of worse things.
I'm just dumping piles of clothes in Louisville Airport covered in barbecue sauce at the trash can. So yeah, but
Yeah,
dinosaur barbecue actually is
back in
pretty
like a
good for New
Ziploc
York.
bag where they can switch it out or something. Because did he still get to like trade the barbecue? I guess not.
We had one bottle that survived, and then the label was so ate up from sitting in barbecue juice, you really couldn't even see where it came from. So he got to try it, but
I don't think airports like barbecue sauce or rubs coming through the airport. I tried to bootleg probably the wrong word, but brought back some dry rub from Salt Lick down in Austin, Texas. And they pulled me to the side and went through the whole like bomb sniffing element, right? Rubbed the little pads over the entire, it was sealed and unopened, but they
for spice.
Say again?
Spice?
Yeah, dry rub. Yeah,
huh.
Dry rub.
Huh. Yeah, I couldn't have seen that being something they would kick out.
You see what these two stories are. These are tangential to our barbecue discussion.
Buddy, look at you bringing it all back. It's circular. It's circular.
How bad?
Yeah, good job, man. What's your so take out preferential? D all the above. Just give us. I have to eat my last barbecue meal. Where is that, Neil? Where I'm like, dude, I'm making it at home. I'm going to my buddy's house. This restaurant in X city.
I'll stick to our hometown, and maybe there are better places in our city, but as far as environment and quality of food and getting a nice glass of bourbon to go with, I gotta say Doc Crow's down by the Yum Center in downtown Louisville, and I'm getting their brisket, and
right.
and that, man, that's as good as it gets. It really is.
Yeah, Doc Crow's a great selection and good bourbon selection for sure.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Craig?
Recent memory, and then it's a place I just went to. Actually, it was the same time that we went down to Stubbs, same trip, but the day built up, but the memory of Old 300 in Blanco, Texas, was freaking outstanding. It's a tiny little hole in the wall barbecue joint called Old 300, but I will preface that we had spent the day in Fredericksburg, which is wine country, so we had a lot of bouncing from winery to winery, and then we went from there to Lukenbach and drank some beers in Lukenbach, and then wrapped up the day at the Old 300. So I believe I had brisket, sausage. It was fantastic. So that was a blast of a day. And when you do the whole thing, but Old 300, I've got a sticker and a hat, and that place was awesome. So that's recent memory serves me as it's that, or if I'm down in Texas City at my aunt and uncle's house, they've got a neighbor, Little Harold. Don't know if there's a Big Harold, but Little Harold smokes the shit out of brisket, and it is fantastic. And I've had his brisket 2 or 3 times now, and it is fantastic. So he's got like belts and trophies and things that say rodeo on them in his garage, and he goes to competitions, and very good brisket.
I've had belts that say rodeo on them. Does that make me a barbecue?
Yeah. I slipped off to where's the fuckers for a second with hey, I've got.
Do we Redmond anything else to share as far as barbecue? Are you ready to move on to our next topic?
Well, if I got to choose a place for barbecue, impromptu, the best impromptu barbecue I've had is floating down the Guadalupe, having these waffles, having a turkey leg chucked at you, Now, granted, you're floating down a river and maybe there's some libations involved.
Big tubing, TUBB.
Yeah, for sure. But if I got to choose a place, I'm going to go local, and I'm going to go Shack in the Back out in Fairdale.
Fairdale, baby.
Yeah.
Shout out to the South End.
I'm not as big a fan since they've redone it. Like I feel like it's upscale now.
Oh, really?
It used to be like a true screen door that slams behind you and flies everywhere and gave you that full experience. The true Shack out and back. But it's a little bit nicer now, but the food's just as good.
You've been there. You've been there since they moved into the bank.
Yeah.
So I love that down. I love Fairdale's little downtown. It's cute as hell. And that's a great spot. I've actually been looking for property out that way. I'm ready to become a hiker, and I've been on hikes, but the Jefferson Memorial Forest is beautiful, and that's right there in Fairdale. That they have the new gateway to the forest. So yeah, Shack in the Back's good stuff, man.
You don't have to buy property. You can go hike that forest for free, Craig.
Yep, I know, but I just wanted to be close. So here's a Shack in the Back. And only our friends and listeners, none of the listeners would have a clue what I'm talking about. But I walk into Shack and Back about 4 or 5 years ago. Sitting right there in the front is Gooch, and I'm like, hadn't seen Rick Gooch in I don't know how many years. But I walk in, I'm like, well, what are you doing? How you doing? Good to see you, man.
What about that?
That was cool.
Yeah, man. Sherman, any last thoughts on the barbecue topic?
I'm just going to throw out a couple of West Kentucky spots. If you're going to Owensboro, there are several there. Old South, Moonlight. Moonlight's one of my favorites, more so for the atmosphere and the history than the actual barbecue. But then also down into Paducah, Starnes Barbecue. I would urge, if you're heading that way, heading west, those are two.
Say that last one again.
Starnes.
You're saying that you're saying that out loud, right? Starnes, STARN.
I am.
All right.
Sherman, you ever stop at Heaton's there in Princeton?
I don't think I have.
Put it on your list. Stuff. You won't be disappointed.
All right. It's on the list.
All right.
I bought a car in Princeton, Kentucky. I don't think I got any barbecue while I was there.
You gotta make a return trip.
I guess so. All right. Well, I think we got a lot of mileage out of that one. We spent most of an episode last week talking about Bourbon and Beyond. And, for those that didn't hear that episode, that's a music festival that I think we all enjoy here. That's in Louisville, Kentucky. And last week we talked through, I think each of us took 3 artists, some of us some liberties to expand upon that. And so I'm just going to give the group that opportunity to go ahead and air any grievances we might have about anything that unfolded last week.
What about the grievances? I feel like the text thread over the week has been punishment enough from my perspective.
For our listeners, they took issue with the fact that I decided to add 3 Third Eye Blind songs to the end of our discussion.
Yeah, the playlist is a little Third Eye Blind heavy, but we're each week we're going to try to add a new song, right? Sometimes it'll be themed towards what we're talking about. Sometimes you may just be like, hey, this song jams and I want it on this playlist. So we may, it's gonna, your Third Eye Blind heavy rotation is gonna slowly go away. I do have a grievance, but it's more reflective. So I have to give props to my man, and it is Nathaniel Rateliff. It is not Ratliff. So I was incorrect. I stand corrected, and I apologize for ever questioning if you knew or did not know your knowledge about the Night Sweats.
Craig, I appreciate you saying something, and I wish I had more confidence, because when you kind of mentioned it, I backed down right away. I needed to maintain my confidence in that.
I've got like 5 years of conversations talking about that band that I've got to go back and apologize to all these people because I've mispronounced his name. So
yeah, that's all right.
They're great.
Yeah,
Rateliff,
Nathaniel Rateliff. Well, by the way, for the record, the Apple Music playlist that we put out there is down to just 1 Third Eye Blind song. I did purge based on the text thread that ensued over the weekend or over the weekend.
Who stayed? Was it that? No, that was a whole different band. Which song did you keep?
I kept God of Wine, which is the final song, which is the best song on the album. And it can be a tough listen because it's pretty
Well, we're
deep.
not wanting to go back down the whole replay of the album.
We don't
We just
need
need to
to.
know
We
the
don't need.
songs.
Hey
Yeah,
guys, let's. This is a new week.
As soon as we set you down this road, then it's 35 more minutes of third.
It's a new week and new topics.
For the premium members, they can still find the full playlist on Spotify though, with no.
That's true. I haven't edited anything. I left them all on there.
It has three albums. It actually has three third albums.
No, see that I did not say I like their entire catalog. It's just that one album. But again, we're not going to go there. We don't have enough time, and so I'm gonna restrain myself, and we're gonna go to this week's topic.
Yeah,
which we all thought what we would do is identify a band that we didn't know of, that we just saw on the poster, wherever it may be, and say, you know what, that's a band I'm going to explore. And we each took one. So just because you're next to me on the video here, Redmond, why don't you go ahead and start us off?
Yeah, so I picked a band, and I feel like I got hoodooed by these guys a little bit. I actually started listening to them because of the name, and they gave me the runaround, a little bit like Smokey and the Bandit and the Snowman. When they said they're going to Channel 21, they're not going to Channel 21, they're going to Channel 19. So I chose these guys because their name is the 502s, thinking they're going to be from Kentucky. They're not from Kentucky. You know where they're from?
Yeah.
Florida, right? They double crossed me. So, but I
do they get copyright infringements? How do you get to name yourself the 502s if you're not from Louisville, Kentucky?
Well, apparently the word on the street is it was the guy's hometown address, or his home address from where he grew up. So whatever that's worth. But at any rate,
sucker MCs.
These guys are. It's kind of a high.
I got hoodooed by them too, Redmond. I saw the name and thought for sure they were local.
Yeah, no dice. But it's a good sound. It's like if you were to take the Lumineers, Camp, Old Crow Medicine Show, and I'm gonna throw in a little Johnny Sacco. If you merge all that stuff together and kind of smash it together, that's the vibe they give off. They got some horns in there. It's a little bit bluegrassy. A little bit folky, but I'm a big fan so far. I've listened to about 10 of the different songs. If I've got to pick one, and we're only going to do one this week, I'm going to go with If Good Times Were Dollars.
My suggestion is after your pick on Lake Street Dive last week and Allison crushing it on that pick, maybe next week you bring her back in to help you pick out the music.
You already don't like the 502s?
No. I'm just saying she crushed it so much on Lake Street Dive that maybe we need to put her back in charge of music.
I'll wait.
Awesome. I've got her on. That was a great pick. I'm not mad at 502s. Kind of like Kansas City barbecue. I ain't mad at them. Just saying, Lake Street Dive is more the brisket of Texas than 502s.
Than the 502s. Well, we are playing with like part of the rule here is we had to not know who they were. So
Yeah, no, true that.
All right, Sherman, who you got this week for us?
I picked up on a band, didn't know anything about them, looked down the list, and found the Paper Kites. They're out of Melbourne, Australia. This is a indie folk, kind of folk rock vibe. I got a little 7 Mary 3 out of it, of the heavier stuff, the song that I picked. A little bit of that, but the folks that, kind of old folk kind of music. I felt like I was watching, some or listening to some older stuff. They are their last album that they did is the one that I actually went through, and it was recorded live, so I loved that. I'm a like live music anyway. They're typically more of the stuff is a little slower, but the song that I'm picking is one they kind of pick up on, and it's called June Stolen Car. Give it a listen.
June Stolen Car.
June Stolen Car.
Like it.
All right, I got to back up one more time here because I didn't write down. Red, give me the replay on that name and song.
The ones that you didn't like already?
Well, all I wrote down was Lake Street Dive and gave like Allison a bunch of exclamation points. Apparently, that's not right.
That's not right. The band is the 502s.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And If Good Times Were Dollars.
Gotcha. All right.
All
So
right,
I'll roll
Craig, where are
here
you
there,
going?
Wilding, if you're good with that.
Yeah, go.
So I kind of went with Red's thought and went with the theme. I like that. I did look at the 502s and I thought they were cool, but then I found the baseball project. And so I said, well, shit, I got to go with these guys. And they're kind of a 90s older group, super group guys that used to all play in like REM, the Dream Syndicate, a whole bunch of cool bands, and kind of came together. And then they've now put out 3 albums, but all their songs have baseball ties, and so they're all themed around whatever team they're into. And but like every song is baseball, so I thought that was cool. And with us having our yearly baseball road trip, I thought, well, that has to be the band I'm going to pick. And so I enjoyed them. I've spent a little time with them. I'm not going to say that they're going to be heavy in my rotation. They're no Third Eye Blind, but they're gonna but I'm going to listen to them. I'm going to hang with them. And the song that I picked was "Oh Oh Otani." It's their latest release, and pretty cool song. So I dug them. The baseball project is my pick.
So in
And
your
they will be
research,
they're at
Craig,
noon. They're at noon on for Sunday at Bourbon and Beyond.
oh, so that's early. So in your research, Craig, did you consider the song "Don't Call Them Twinkies"?
Yeah. The guy is a Minnesota Twins fan. I don't remember which one that associates with, but the one was Oakland A's, one was Twins, one was something
Well,
else, and I thought that was a pretty cool song.
I mentioned "Don't Call Them Twinkies" because it's that guest vocalist is none other than Craig Finn, lead singer of the Hold Steady
Look at
from
that.
last week's podcast.
What's my new word? No, that word doesn't have anything to go with it, though, does it?
Tangential?
Yeah, that
A
doesn't have
little,
anything to do.
yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. All right.
All right.
Well, I'll try and not wax too much poetic on this, as I kind of took over the mic last week. But the band that I found is a band called, and I'd never heard of them before. It's called Gooseberry, not to be confused with the jam band Goose, nor to be confused with the indie rock band Geese or legend Chuck Berry, but Gooseberry.
That was fantastic.
And Gooseberry is like way down in the fine print. In fact, I think they're the first band to go on Saturday. They have a debut album they just put out in September. The debut album is called All My Friends Are Cattle. And what's interesting, I look at, Apple Music, they assign a genre, and they're not always right, but and I don't know even who picks that. But when you look at the album, it's got 10 tracks on it, and there's 5 different genres. One of them's rock, one of them's indie, one of them's grunge, one of them's folk, one of them's alternative. But when I put it on, it was like definitely something that like 22-year-old me would have listened to. I mean, in early mid 90s. It actually gave me a little like Stone Temple Pilots vibe, because Stone Temple Pilots got some straightforward rock songs, but then they had an artistic side that was very good, and go a little folky, jazzy even. And you know what? Like 52-year-old me likes it pretty damn well too. I'm a big fan. The song I'm going to pick is a song that is more of a straightforward song. It's called "Dying to Meet You." And like I said, that song in particular kind of reminds me of Stone Temple Pilots. That one is it's a good tune, and you know what? They are going to be part of my rotation. Like, this is a good band, and I think they're just really early. But this is a really good album. I had no idea, I'd never heard it before. They're out of New York, and I think it might be something that they might be onto something here. So I'm kind of excited. Saturday's like, to me, the show, like the day, and they're going to kick it off for us. So a Gooseberry, and the song is "Dying to Meet You."
I figured you'd have to go down to the fine print, Wilding, to find a group that you had not heard of before.
This is
true. That's a diff. You ain't lying there, man. Our dude is deep into some music knowledge. But if you're excited, I'm excited, man. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna try it out.
Yeah, I think. Well, and the Stone Temple Pilots thing is because it's like the song I picked is it's a pretty straightforward rock song, but you get into some of the other tracks, even to some of the EPs they put out before this one. There's some experimental stuff, like some jazzy stuff. I don't know. It's really good.
Well, very good. Very cool.
So that kind of takes us through the agenda that I kind of had for our podcast this week. I feel like we got a tight 45 going here, guys. I don't know if y'all have anything else you want to say before we wrap things up.
I've got a shout out, and I got some breaking news before we close out, if that's all right.
Yeah.
So episode 2, there was some technical difficulties, and I want to give a good shout out to my son Nolan. He's my oldest son. He has been our editor, program director, behind the scenes coordinator, helping me fix glitches in the matrix there, and so just want to give him a quick shout out. Thank you, Nolan Cotton. You have been awesome. And then I have breaking news. I didn't tell any of y'all about this. I wanted to save it for the show so y'all could have your honest reactions.
For our listeners.
Are you
pull the car over.
right for all the listeners out there? Oh, I do want to go back and do that next time, but we're gonna I do want to give a rundown of all the cities that have been tuning into us. We are trending high in Winchester, Virginia. But we don't have time for that this episode. We'll talk about that next time. But I am very excited about that. But we have our first sponsor. We are now being sponsored by the St. Anthony Golf Club. So each of us are getting a free koozie from my friend Matt Fox. Shout out Matt Fox. And if you follow his TikTok golf channel, SA_golf club, go check them all out. He's the one that has the indoor simulator that I've gone to, and it's amazing. But we got to start small. So no sponsor is a bad sponsor. This is amazing, and I'm pumped for free koozies and a free round of golf for us in my buddy Matt Fox's garage. So I know you're going to show everybody your new koozie, but we got to try to stay humble, fellas.
We'll have to sport koozies at our first road show.
Mm-hmm.
This is fantastic news. It's a
great. I'm not gonna lie, Craig. He's my favorite sponsor.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He is our number one sponsor.
Number one.
And that's coming from something as far as our political guy clearly making a choice.
This is true.
Number one. All barbecue is good barbecue, but our first sponsor is our favorite sponsor.
I love it.
Right.
Job well done to the advertising sales department that is Craig Cotton.
Absolutely. Yeah, they're hitting the streets. Yeah. Sign us out from Kansas City, Mr. Wilding.
Well, wrapping up episode 3 of a Southern Hang podcast. Thanks everyone for listening. We'll see you next week.
Deuces.